Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The DK Effect. A real-life diary of a madman.
It's time for the DK Effect. Oh, 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 come on. Oh, 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 come on. Oh, 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 oh. It's time for the DK Effect. Oh, 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 come on. Oh, 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 oh.
Well, top of the day, everybody. My name is DK. It's great to be here with you. Not a lot really happening. I guess this week I did walk outside with just a cane. Very short distances, but it's progress. I've been driving the car a little more. Also, I want you to stick around the end of the show. We've got a very special announcement, and the show may or may not go a little bit longer. So let's get real for a second here. Now, let's get real for a second. I've been looking at the comments, reading the DMs, and talking to some of you on the lives, and I'm hearing a recurring theme that, frankly, we need to address head on. Some of you are saying it's not working. You're saying, I'm doing the visualizations, I'm changing the language, but my life looks the same. I get the frustration. I really do. It happens to me, too. But let's be very clear. The frameworks that we discuss here, the NLP techniques, the mindset shifts, they are magic. They're mechanics. This isn't a theory. It's a proven psychological science. And if you feel it's not working, it's usually because we've had a setback and allowed that setback to become the new narrative. We all hit walls. Maybe you wanted a new personal best in your fitness journey, but you're stuck at the same weight. Maybe you're trying to build a business or a brand and the engagement just isn't there yet. Setback isn't a sign to stop. It's data. In NLP, we say there is no failure, only feedback. When you say it's not working, you're essentially closing your eyes to the feedback. You're letting the temporary obstacle dictate your permanent potential. So how do we know it works? Look at the patterns of every high-achieving performer, every athlete, every person who has shifted their reality. They didn't find a lucky break. They rewired how they processed obstacles. When you consciously interrupt a negative thought pattern and replace it with a focused outcome, you're physically changing the neural pathways of your brain. It works when you apply the mindset, moving from why is this happening to me to how is this happening for me? The system doesn't break. Usually it's our consistency that breaks. So when the frustration kicks in, you have to do two things immediately. You need to audit your internal dialogue. Are you saying I can't or I haven't yet? That one word shift changes your entire neurochemistry. You've got to reconnect with the source. This leads to the most important tool in our kit. When the road gets steep and you're tempted to throw in the towel, you have to remember why you started. One of my wise men once told me that, and I refer to it often. And you might want to write that down. Remember why you started. Why did you commit to this growth? Was it for your family? Was it to prove to yourself that you're capable of more? Was it because the old story was no longer enough to sustain you? Your why is the fuel. If the engine is stalling, it's usually because you've stopped putting fuel in the tank. You focus so much on the difficulty of the climb that you've forgotten the view you're climbing for. Revisit that original spark. Visualize it. Feel it. That's where the power comes back. Folks, don't let a bad day or a slow week talk you out of a transformed life. The DK effect is about compounding those small mental wins until they become an unstoppable force. That's it for now, but stay with me. Coming up next, we have a fantastic featured interview with Sandra, where she shares her own journey through all the noise. Right after that, I'm going to break down the one thing that separates the dreamers from the achievers. And that's action. That's when we talk from moving on, from knowing to doing. And don't forget the special announcement.
This week's guest is Sandra Hongonen. Sandra comes to us from Toronto, Canada. She began her journey coming to a new country from Estonia. Despite a life of dreams ahead of her and a newfound home, she will face the loss of jobs and the arrival of COVID. This is the first of a new 3-part series. So sit back and listen to Sandra tell her story in her own words.
Okay, we're back, everybody. This week, we have the pleasure of talking to Sandra Hongonen, who is joining us from Toronto, Ontario, one of my most favorite cities in the world, and a very close neighbor of mine. I'm about 4 hours away. Sandra, welcome to the show. We are dying to hear your story.
Thank you so much. I really like this show, and I was so excited when I got the opportunity to be on here and share my story. And I'll just get right to it. So I'm originally from Estonia. I grew up in a very small village called Turba. It's about 1,000 people, and I really loved living there, and I moved to the capital city, Tallinn, when I was about 15. And then when I was 22, I decided to move to Toronto.
Now, and you picked Toronto. You didn't just
I,
pick Canada. You chose Toronto.
yeah, well, I already knew someone from Toronto, so that's why the location. I was in between actually England and Canada to begin with, because England was closer to home.
Okay.
And I didn't know if I could manage to live that far if anything goes south, right? But I decided to still pick Toronto and to see how it goes, and if because I knew the visa and everything is going to be a little bit of a struggle, so I figured if it doesn't work out, I can always go to England.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I moved here in 2019 in July.
So almost right in the middle of COVID.
Before COVID.
Oh, right
Yeah.
before COVID. Okay.
Yeah, so I think COVID really hit here, and when everything went into lockdown was 2020 March.
Okay. So
Yeah, so
okay.
yeah, a little bit less. Yeah, so I moved. I mean, it was nice. It was summer. I was, I was looking for just honestly more opportunities, and I heard great things, and it's a city for people to come to and hustle and work hard, and that's kind of what I was looking for, and like kind of like a smaller New York.
Yeah. Well, it's getting close. Metropolitan
Yeah.
Toronto is what, like 9 million, I think now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that was exactly the vibe I was looking for, because Estonia is obviously a very small country with like 1.3 million people, like kind of, like we have an old town, very medieval, and here it's like a big city, tall buildings, like it's completely different. So I guess I just wanted to experience something, 180.
You've got
From
it there. I mean,
Yeah,
the entertainment, the sports, the
everything.
the characters
Culture.
that are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I love Toronto, if you
Yeah.
can't tell.
Yeah, I can tell. Well, I was also, told a lot that Toronto is very welcoming for like immigrants and people to come in and bring more like diversity and culture, and like this is, that's what Canada is known for. And I was like, oh, that sounds great. Like, I will be welcomed. And I would say that it first kind of was like that. I did struggle to find a job a little bit. I actually went completely broke twice. where it was just like a lot of figuring it out. And I lost a couple of jobs because I don't know, they went bankrupt or there was a flood or, and like just things that I didn't see coming and it just happened to happen.
Right.
And
But
it
but you
just, it is.
you kept bouncing back though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was very determined. Like, no, I'm gonna, figure this out. And like when I first got my apartment, it was a small den in a condo apartment. And so when I finalized all the payments, I actually had nothing left. So I got a mattress from my friend's friend, and all my clothes were just in my suitcase. I had my sweaters as blankets, and I didn't have a door. I had those like sliding doors. So I kept those closed because I was so embarrassed. Like I had one roommate, right? Like she had the master bedroom, and I didn't want her to know that I'm like she's gonna ask me like, "Hey, are you gonna buy furniture?" I didn't want to say like I don't have no money.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just gotta get through, a couple of paychecks. It will be fine. Like I had just gotten a job. My first job was actually on the cruises on Lake Ontario. So they do like lunch cruises and dinner cruises.
Those are beautiful. Yeah.
They are beautiful. The view is everything. Yeah, and it was also very strange. I've never worked on a boat.
Yeah, they
It
can
was
make you
definitely
throw
experience.
your inner ear off at first. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it was an experience for sure. I did really like it. I met a lot of people there, and but obviously it was a very seasonal job, so then I had to go back to finding a job. I did, and that one was that closed down to a flood. And then before finding a new one, I went broke again, and I was like, "No, this is happening again," and like I can't believe it. And I'm not the kind of person that would like I never really called my family and, be like, I need some help. Or, I was just, I don't know why. I was just so embarrassed to say that, like, things are not really
so
working out well.
can I just have a quick question. So because
Yeah.
obviously you've gone broke a few times.
Hmm.
Um what is it that pulls you back? Like you said, just pure determination, or do you have a certain thing in your subconscious where you got to go back to and say, "Hey, I've beat this before."
Yeah. I mean, like many experiences, the story keeps going, right? And I would say that just honestly, like there's nothing else to do other than keep going, right?
Right.
And like not to say that it was like, oh, I just woke up and I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep going. No, it was a lot of days where I didn't want to get out of bed. And
I
like
got
the anxiety and like the bills are coming in and you gotta pay rent. And like obviously Toronto is not cheap.
yeah, oh no,
And like
gosh.
that bill is scary when you don't have an income and like
And
all the savings are gone just to get started, right? And
you're forever from home and family now, even in
yeah.
England, right?
Yeah, and even to, like, compare the wages in Europe and in Estonia and, like, around that time, like, it's like, the rent here, that would be a lot to ask from my family.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so different, like, and, so, yeah, I ended up, getting a job and things started to go a lot better. I think it was around like November that year, and I actually started saving money. I was like, okay, this is going well, and like I can kind of map out the future of like what am I saving for and what are the plans and what's next now. And I thought like well the hurdle is all done,
Hmm.
and they even agreed to sponsor me because I obviously only got a visa for 1 year. And so I was like, okay, we were working on the application, and then of course COVID hits,
Right.
and
Remember it well.
yeah, and I don't know, I was very shocked. Obviously, it was like scary, but at that point, I was already like, I could feel like my plans are kind of going, well. So like, okay, let's just wait it out. Like, everything was going so well. I'm sure that this is just a little bit of a hump, but not that much.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that's
And
good positive thinking.
yeah, yeah, and like, but obviously, yeah, like just to come find out and that this is a little bit of a long term. thing that we're going through. So I decided to stay here.
Everything the DK Effect all in one place. www.thedkeffect.ca. All our social media links. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. A library of articles that go into detail on subjects covered on the show. And other articles including mental health, personal growth, fitness, and success stories. An easy way to contact us with questions or if you want to share your story on the show. Yep. All of that in one place to assist you on your life journey. It all starts with taking the first step at www.thedkeffect.ca.
Back over to you, the girl. 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 Back over to you, the girl.
Action. So, like I said earlier, we're going to talk about the one thing that separates those who dream from those who do, and it's action. In the world of NLP, we often say the map is not the territory. You can have the most beautiful, detailed map, your goals, your vision boards, your why. But if you don't put your feet on the ground and start walking, you're just a person staring at a piece of paper. Action is the physical manifestation of your intent. It's the bridge between the internal world of thought and the external world of results. It's the key to everything else we discuss: confidence, mastery, and success. Because confidence, it's the key to everything else we discuss: confidence, mastery, and success. Because competence breeds confidence, and competence only comes through repetition. Without action, knowledge is just potential energy. Action is what turns it into kinetic power. So, if action is the key, why do we get stuck? Coaching, there's three main culprits. It's what we call analysis paralysis. We wait for perfect information. There's secondary gain. A part of your subconscious believes there is a benefit staying exactly where you are, staying safe from judgment. And there's a how trap. We get so focused on how it will happen that we never take the first step. Most people don't fail because their goals are too big. They fail because their feedback loops are too slow. How about someone that wants to write a book? They spend 6 months researching how to write. They haven't written a page yet. They aren't failing at writing. They're failing at starting. They are operating in a stuck state where the perceived pain or effort or failure outweighs the perceived pleasure of the goal. So to move from stagnant to unstoppable, you got to follow this sequence. Interrupt the pattern. If you're sitting on the couch overthinking, physically change your state. Stand up, breathe deeply, or walk into a different room. You cannot solve a stuck problem with a stuck physiology. Then you're going to shrink the entry point. Massive action doesn't mean doing 1,000 things. It means doing the right thing with total commitment. If you need to hit the gym but you feel overwhelmed, your action isn't a 90-minute workout. Your action is simply putting on your shoes. Once your shoes are on, momentum of the micro action carries you forward. Use your mental theater. Close your eyes and see yourself having already completed the task. Feel the satisfaction. By anchoring that feeling of completion, your brain begins to crave the action required to get there. The next rule is the 5-second rule to execution. The moment you have an impulse to act on a goal, you have to physically move within 5 seconds. If you don't, your brain will process map reasons to stay comfortable. Now, if you need to make a difficult sales call or a personal call, Pick up the phone before your brain can tell you it's too late in the day to call. I often do it where I don't feel like exercising. I don't feel like doing my workout, but I remember why I'm doing it, and then I stand up and I start moving. Folks, massive action is a muscle. The more you interrupt your hesitation and move toward the scary thing, the more you rewire your neurology for success. So stop planning and start doing. Hang around a minute. I have a special announcement.
And now it's time for this week's announcements. And now it's time for this week's announcements.
Well, thanks for sticking around. I appreciate it. And the announcement I'm going to make is maybe a little rushed, but it might be time. Something's telling me it's time. Something's telling me it's time to make the next step. So you've been asking for it. You've been listening to the segments. You've been sending me questions. You're looking for that deeper level of growth. Well, today is the day we pull back the curtain. I'm absolutely thrilled to finally introduce the DK Effects Pattern to Power. This isn't just another self-help program. We are officially bridging the gap by mixing traditional NLP with modern mind mechanics to give you a blueprint for real, lasting change. Now, don't get me wrong, the podcast is great for those quick shifts. But I know you want more than just brief segments. You want the how behind the why. And that's why we're kicking everything off with a full-length webinar. It's happening in May. I can't give you the exact date. You got to finalize that still. And it's titled A New Story. This is going to be an in-depth, deep dive look at the framework we've been discussing. We're going to dismantle the old narratives and start building new ones live. And because you've been with me on this journey, I'm making this webinar completely free for our loyal listeners and followers. Consider it my thanks for incredible support. But we're not stopping at the webinar. We have so much more coming down the pipeline. We're talking personal consultations for those ready to do one-on-one work or feel they can't express it in a group, VIP passes for exclusive access, and a dedicated community where you can connect with others who are on the same path to growth. This is about building a space where the work actually happens. The momentum is building, and I don't want you to miss a single update. Keep your eyes locked on all our socials and head over to the dkeffect.ca to get on the list for the seminar. And there's also going to be a mailing list. The next chapter starts now. Until next time, I'm DK.
Never, never, never look back. Keep going and don't give up. Never, never, never look back. Keep going and don't give up. Never, never, never look back. Never, never, never look back. Keep going and don't give up. Never, never, never look back. Keep going.